It's wonderful. So I was in the tub and I said, you know, you look just like me, Rhonda. And she said, Mommy, everyone says we look like the Supremes. Who are the Supremes? You know?
Remember the Motown icon? Yes, at 81, Diana Ross finally admitted to the love of her life. Despite having countless suitors, Diana Ross has chosen to live alone for nearly 2 decades. What made her decide to keep her distance from love for such a long time? Could it be that behind that silence is a heart that has never stopped missing someone special? To know the truth, it is easier to seek it, lonely, for 2 decades. Diana Ross's nearly quarter-century single status is not simply the result of past relationships, but a profound reflection of her personal choices and the absolute priority given to music, something that has been closely associated with her life from the early years of her career until today. Since her divorce from her second husband, Norwegian tycoon Arne Næss Jr., in 2000, Diana Ross has not publicly announced any notable romantic relationships. In the public eye, she is almost a symbol of personal success without a companion. But behind the stage lights and gorgeous dresses, the question still arises: why did a powerful, charming, and talented woman like Diana Ross choose to live alone for so long? The answer lies largely in her intense passion for her career. At 81, when many artists have retired or only appeared sporadically at special events, Diana Ross still maintains a busy performance schedule. According to those close to her, Diana thrives on performing and the admiration of her fans. When she's not touring, she's planning her next tour. This isn't just a job, it's a way of life. Music is not only a vehicle for success, but also a place where she finds joy, meaning, and even companionship that some others might find in romantic love. A testament to her relentless creativity is the album Thank You, released in 2021, a fresh, energetic, and emotional musical product that shows that she still retains the sweet voice and legendary charisma that has captivated millions of fans worldwide. With over 100 million streams, downloads, and album sales, Diana's influence has not waned despite the passage of time. However, not everyone believes that a career can replace love or commitment. Close friends and family have repeatedly expressed concerns about the singer's continued loneliness. Success is sweeter when shared, said a longtime friend. No matter how busy she is, she seems lonely when she comes home alone. As she ages, these concerns become more apparent. Is loneliness the price Diana Ross has paid for a life at the top of her art? It's not that she doesn't want love. According to a source close to her, she tells friends she's never given up on love. She wants to meet someone, but she's not doing anything to make it happen. There was this passivity in her romantic life that caused Diana to build an invisible barrier between herself and new opportunities. She didn't date, didn't put herself in situations where she could meet new people, and didn't open up in a way that men could recognize. Part of the reason was her status as a legend, an icon. Opening up wasn't easy, but it could also be that her habit of living alone, along with her hectic work schedule, had become such a familiar way of life that she no longer felt the need to change. She had to venture out into the world. There were plenty of men who would have loved to be her main lover if she'd just give them the chance. Diana Ross is a living testament to a life devoted to her art, but as her friends have said, she could have had both a partner and a career if she believed she deserved love. And perhaps the turning point at 81, when she confessed to the love of her life, is a sign that her heart was never completely closed. Diana Ross's decades-long celibacy may have been a reflection of her unwavering commitment to her music career, but her romantic history, which has been dogged by numerous relationships, reveals something. What impact did the men who passed through Diana's life have? And did those experiences help shape her cautious approach to love, past relationships? A look back at Diana Ross's love life reveals a complex and emotional picture, one where fame, career, and heart often collided. Her first marriage began in 1971 with Robert Ellis Silverstein, a successful music executive and partner whom Ross hoped would bring stability to her personal life. This came shortly after Ross ended her passionate affair with Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown Records, who had played a key role in discovering her and propelling her to fame. Although the relationship between Ross and Gordy ended, they had a daughter together, Rhonda Ross Kendrick. Silverstein lovingly raised Rhonda as his own, alongside the two daughters he and Diana had, Tracy Ellis Ross, who later became a famous actress, and Chudney Ross. Although the marriage ended in 1977, it left a positive image of family togetherness without blood ties, a rare example in the entertainment industry. After several years of celibacy, Ross entered into a second marriage to Arnanes Jr., a Norwegian businessman and shipping magnate. They married in 1986 and had two sons together, Ross Arnanes and Evan Ross, who is also an artist and actor active in Hollywood. This was the longest relationship of her life, lasting until However, this marriage was not without incident. Medes is said to have fathered a child with another woman while they were still legally married, leading to divorce. Despite the divorce, Diana maintained a close and affectionate relationship with Arnie until he died in a climbing accident in South Africa. The loss was said to be a major blow to her life, once again highlighting the fragility of happiness and why she increasingly withdrew from serious romantic relationships. Between her two marriages, Diana had a brief relationship with Oscar-winning actor Jon Voight, Angelina Jolie's father, in the early 1990s. They appeared together at a number of major events, attracting a lot of media attention, but the relationship quickly faded and did not leave much of a lasting impression. Compared to other relationships, this could be seen as a fleeting moment in her search for love, more experimental than committed. However, it was Berry Gordy who had the most profound influence on Diana Ross's career and personal life. Their relationship was more than just a love affair. It was a combination of talent, vision, and a powerful musical resonance. From 1965 to 1970, when Ross was at the height of her career with the Supremes, her relationship with Gordy was both a spiritual support and a creative catalyst. Rhonda's birth was the crystallization of this relationship, and although the two later separated, they maintained a long-term and respectful colleague-friend relationship. In particular, their affection laid the foundation for Ross's thoughts and choices in later relationships, more reserved, more discreet, and always putting her career first. It was her previous love for a powerful man in the music industry who played a decisive role in her success that made it difficult for Ross to easily find a normal love not dominated by fame or career. The old hurts, combined with the strict expectations she set for herself and a potential partner, may have inadvertently pushed her away from deep relationships. And when it comes to Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross's close colleague and longtime artistic ally, it's impossible not to wonder, was there ever anything more than friendship between them? Rumors of a relationship between Ross and Robinson have persisted for decades, largely due to the rare chemistry between the two legendary Motown artists. Although both have always denied it, fans have never stopped wondering, because it's clear that there is a connection between them that goes beyond words. Are they dating? Did Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson? For decades, amid the glittering stage and legendary Motown hits, rumors of a secret affair between two of the most influential figures in American music have been swirling. Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. The rumors, the whispers behind the scenes have finally been confirmed, and it's a story that's both romantic and heartbreaking, reflecting the complexities of love between two artists deeply in love. In a rare and candid interview with The Guardian, Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross's childhood friend and a living icon of Motown, has publicly acknowledged for the first time his relationship with Ross. When asked if the rumors of a romantic relationship were true, Robinson was straightforward. Yes. He confirmed that the relationship was real and that it lasted about a year, specifically while he was still married to his first wife, Claudette Rogers Robinson, lead singer of The Miracles. However, those who have been following the professional journeys of these two musicians were not completely taken aback by the disclosure, despite the fact that it stunned the general audience. Robinson had previously hinted at the connection in an open an honest interview that took place on the YouTube channel Vlad TV. He stated, "It probably lasted longer than expected, because at that time, I was still a married man." Robinson claims that his love connection with Diana Ross was not the product of an unexpected feeling of passion, but rather a natural development of a long-standing friendship and creative partnership between the two of them. They had known each other since they were teenagers in Detroit, which is the city that gave birth to Motown. They had also grown up in the same area, next to each other, and had known each other since they were teenagers.
Robinson was the one who laid the groundwork for Ross's dramatic journey to fame by introducing her to Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown Records.
Robinson recalls, "We got together, and it just happened," with a sense of surprise. "I was attempting to assist her since she was under a lot of pressure to establish a reputation for herself, and she was still young. It was the fact that I brought her to Motown that marked the beginning of our relationship. Nevertheless, despite the fact that it was a real and passionate relationship, it was not without issues." During the interview, Robinson disclosed that Diana Ross was the one who took the initiative to discontinue the relationship out of respect for his wife. After some time had passed, Diana informed me that she was unable to continue. She was familiar with Claudette, and she was aware that I continued to love my wife, and certainly I had a great deal of affection for Claudette. Robinson's heart was still filled with the feelings that the affair had brought about, despite the fact that it had ended in a discreet manner. Affectionate terms were used by him while referring to Ross, including, "She was a stunningly feminine woman. She continues to be one of the people whom I love the most, and she will always be one of the people whom I am closest to." He does not shy away from looking back on the relationship with a more philosophical and reflective perspective, and he shares his thoughts as follows. "I learned that humans are capable of loving more than one person at the same time. It is essential to our very being. But society prevents us from doing so. We are taught that it is unacceptable and that it is considered taboo." Not only does Robinson's candor pave the way for a fresh chapter in the annals of Motown's history, but it also sheds light on the real human feelings that lie behind the limelight. This was possibly one of the most significant partnerships that Diana Ross had, as she was a woman who was greatly recognized all over the world for her glitzy appearance and heavenly voice. So in the end, who is the person she loves the most? The answer isn't in the name Smokey Robinson. The truth will be much more humiliating. Diana Ross finally admits, throughout her career, which spans over 6 decades, Ross has had a reputation for being a fiercely guarded and private individual. Even at the most difficult moments of her marriage, she managed to keep her emotions out of the public eye. However, during a rare and emotional talk with Oprah Winfrey, her best friend and most trusted interviewer, she unexpectedly disclosed something that the general world had never heard from her before. Arnie Naess Jr., Ross's second husband, was more than simply a spouse. He was the love of her life. In 1985, Ross and Naess had their first encounter in the Bahamas. The fact that Naess, a Norwegian tycoon and renowned climber, had a chilly appearance, but a warm core was something that Ross felt to be a spiritual anchor. Almost immediately, in 1986, the couple tied the knot and went on to have 2 kids together, Ross Arnie Naess and Evan Ross. About that time period, Ross referred to it as the time when she felt most like herself as an artist, as a wife, and as a mother. But no love tale is perfect forever. When Naess began having an affair in the late 1990s, Ross was on tour and parenting their children at the same time. This was the beginning of the disintegration of the marriage. After being together for 14 years, they finalized their divorce in the year 2000. Nevertheless, Ross's closest friends claim that she never fully let him go from her hands. According to a close acquaintance who spoke on the condition of anonymity, after the divorce she did not talk about him as someone who had cheated, but rather as someone who had lost his way. Except Arnie, she had never truly loved anybody else the way she loved him. The fact that Arnie Naess Jr. passed away in a climbing accident in South Africa in 2004, barely 4 years after the divorce, was even more sad than the fact that he died. In spite of the fact that she was no longer legally married to him, Ross continued to be present at the burial with her children. She even sang a song as a way of saying goodbye to the guy whom she had previously loved with such fiery passion. At the age of 81, when she realized that being in the public eye was no longer her top concern, Ross started to calm down and think about her life. Not only were her sincere admissions intended for Oprah, but they were also intended for her children and close friends. She did this to alleviate the pain that her heart was still experiencing for him. According to a source close to the situation, Diana stated that if she had the opportunity to go back in time, she would have attempted to keep Arnie for a longer while. Smokey Robinson, a longtime friend and co-worker, has just shared some information, and Ross's admission corresponds with this information. Peculiarly, an interview that took place not too long ago revealed that Robinson had acknowledged having a brief romance with Ross during the early stages of his career. How Robinson portrayed the relationship, however, was what took the world by surprise. He said, "It was a passionate connection, but it was not a love that would last your entire life." We were both aware of that. There is a stark contrast between her lightning relationship with Robinson and her profound love for Naas, which makes it even more obvious who was the one who truly resonated with Ross's heart. This is also the reason why Ross has not been seen in public with any other man since the end of her brief relationship with actor Jon Voight in 2006. That relationship ended in... It would appear that the door to her heart has been shut ever since Arne passed away, although her friends have instructed her on several occasions to let her heart open. The particular bond that exists between Michael Jackson and Diana Ross is another emotional component that is represented in the narrative.
There are several individuals who are close to the Jackson family who have stated that Michael Jackson regularly referred to Diana as the true love of his life.
He referred to her as a mother figure, an idol, and even a lover in his heart at times. Michael included Ross in his will as a surrogate guardian of his children if his biological mother were no longer able to fulfill the responsibilities associated with that role. This demonstrates the profound spiritual connection that exists between the two of them, a sensation that is difficult to convey yet cannot be denied. With her rare public sharing in her twilight years, Diana Ross not only left behind an immortal musical legacy, but also gave fans a whole new perspective on the heart of a woman who was once admired by the world. She was not perfect, but she was genuine, and that is what made Diana Ross once again touch the hearts of the public in a way that no hit song. What do you think makes a person unable to forget a love even after divorce and separation for many years? Do you believe that there is only one love in life, even if that person is no longer with us? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next videos.